Rolling.
In 1993, Professor Cypress Hill asked the theoretical question, "Who are you trying to get crazy with, essay? Don't you know I'm Loco?" Answers to that question and many more tonight here on the Catch the Sky podcast. It is Saif, Sweet Tea, and we are joined by our recurring guest all the way from episode 1. Zach is back. We're happy he's here, and tonight he's going to help us explore not only his personal, but our personal experiences with the mental health industrial complex. But also, we're going to look into some international states of affairs regarding mental health, and finally, talk about the current state of mental health here in the United States. We are on social media, people. Love us, like us, subscribe to us, holler at us. And we're worldwide, too, so you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We're happy for you. We're happy you're here. That's what I meant to say. Zach. Zach, I'm so glad you're back. How are you, man?
Oh, I am so great. I am so happy to be back on the show. Happy to be here with you guys and finally get back to important issues for sure. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, and hopefully I can share some experiences that can educate some people along the way. So hopefully we can all learn from this.
Let's get right into our personal experiences. I kind of want to open up the floor to anybody who's willing to share. Zach, you are our guest.
Oof. First up. Okay.
You can defer if you'd like to.
I kind of would. I'm kind of.
You can defer to the second half.
Yeah. I didn't even get a coin toss.
You just threw him right to the fucking wolves.
It's all right though. It's all right. I am interested to hear, what you two have to say on the subject.
Well, I've elaborated on it in previous episodes, and anybody that knows me obviously knows that I'm a suicide survivor. So that means that I attempted to kill myself, and this was through trying to put myself in a medically induced seizure, which I successfully did, and my roommate found me at the time and got me to the necessary medical facilities where they resuscitated me and kept me under observation for a week to make sure that I didn't do anything crazy. They did make sure to come in at like 3 a.m. and draw blood, though, which I really, really loved because I hate needles. So that was awesome. So that was really, really, really fantastic. And then we have these crisis lines that you are able to contact when you're feeling in any sort of distress, I guess. And at one point, I contacted one of these numbers years later and conveyed to them that, I always have feelings like this. Suicidal thoughts are something that I deal with on a fairly regular basis. And this prompted a level of concern with the person that they decided to call the authorities. And while I was taking my garbage out, about 4 days later, the cops came and took me to the hospital. And I was brought there basically against my fucking will. And thank God I had it off work the next day. Otherwise, it would have fucking probably prompted me to miss work. And I wouldn't have been able to call in.
That's why you don't like taking out the garbage.
That's another reason I don't like taking out the garbage.
PTSD.
The cops come and just scoop you up. They just come and scoop you up while you're taking the fucking trash out.
I wouldn't want to take out the garbage either. Jesus Christ.
Erie's a scary place, man. Erie's fucking terrifying.
Not only that, they surprise you 4 days later. You could have been laying in the gutter for all they knew.
Yeah, right? It's like, thanks for checking in on me. They said they tried getting a hold of me. It's like, you didn't check in at my job, apparently. Like, what the fuck?
These are what our tax-paying dollars go to.
Yeah, so they couldn't have been that fucking concerned.
This is why murder mysteries, like, they never get solved. It's people are just
that 48 hours is bullshit, man.
Yeah, the first 48, they're fucking beaten off. They have no idea murders occurred.
72 hours has gone by. They're like, can we roll back some hours? They're like, yeah, it's a show. We can cut anything out.
Yeah, seriously.
Just keep wearing the same outfits. We got this.
It's been 96 hours, and they're like, oh, somebody filed an incident report on a murder? Oh, shit. So, yeah.
I'm curious about this, and I've thought about dying too. Like, I've thought about killing myself.
Just be so much easier.
I don't see that as like, it's something that comes up. I think about death. It's always there. This COVID thing, obviously, there's the idea of catching a virus or getting hit in your car. Like, that crosses my mind.
I think it does for everybody.
How is it different?
Yeah.
What's different?
What do you mean, what's different?
Like I said, I feel that a lot of people think about death. A lot of people just have the thought, like, I wonder what it would be like not to exist. Or do you think about it in terms of, I want to kill myself?
For me, it's more a release from the fucking monotony and pain that I have experienced in life. And not that my struggles are bad in comparison to other people around the world. There's so many other people that have it so much worse than me. I know that there's somewhat of an imbalance in my mind, but there's also, I think there probably needs to be a little bit more research into how things like PTSD and trauma affect how a person's mind is basically wired, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there's parts of my brain that shouldn't think the way that they think and operate, but that's the way that they do. And for me, it's like when I go through times of struggle, I'm just like, why the fuck am I here again? It's like I'm this much farther down the timeline of my life, and I feel like I'm in the exact same motherfucking spot. And if this is how my life cycle is going to be, is just up and down and up and down and up and down and not constantly growing, then it just seems like it would just be easier to fucking just put all this bullshit aside, just rest, and let everybody else worry about the bullshit in the world, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. And it's like...
And they're managing it, right? They're taking out the garbage, right? It's still getting picked up every week.
Yeah.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Have I told you about my fucking latest dispute with the fucking... Oh, these motherfuckers. Okay, so this goes back to November. Yeah, Sweet Tea is teeing off for the first time in a long time.
Great.
I haven't done that.
Great.
These fucking
so far off
bastards, these fucking bastards back in November didn't pick up my couch for like 3 weeks. Zach can attest to this. I fucking put in a large item pickup and they didn't come and pick up the couch.
This isn't the one we burned in the backyard at like midnight.
No.
Okay.
This isn't the one we burned.
Okay, great.
This is the big one that you and I heaved from down the street. And then me and my dad brought that out into the curb. And it fucking sat there for like 3 weeks. And I fucking filled out the form. And then I called them and I was like, hey, you gonna come get this? And they're like, oh, you gotta fill out another form. I'm like, the fuck is this? So that happened. I was the trashy guy with the couch on his front lawn for 3 weeks. And then a couple of weeks ago, no, like 2 months ago now, they broke my fucking recycling bin. They just beat it the fuck up. Like it shattered literally in half. And then I got a new trash can, like for the regular trash. First night I used it, they fucking broke the bottom of that, and it was a heavy duty one. So that means they fucking literally took it safe in the air and like fucking smashed it on the fucking ground. Like fucking body slam my shit. So I fucking talked to like the director or like the head of the fucking Bureau of fucking Recycling and Refuse. No. And I don't know if you noticed when you came in, but there was a nice new trash can sitting on my front porch.
It escaped me.
Mm-hmm. They dropped off a new trash can for me, Saif. They did replace the trash can.
Isn't that
Hang on.
okay?
That does make it okay, but I did leave out one other part of the story. The whole reason that I got a new trash can is because I had to call last week. Dude, when I scoop the cat litter from the box, I put it in a bag. And then I take the bag, I tie it up, and I put it in the trash can. All right? Not difficult, right? We can go out to the street right now if you want to. There's a fucking solid, paved, ran over a bunch of time.
On Insta.
Oh, I will. I'll put them on Insta. I'll fucking put them on fucking with this episode. You'll see them. We're going live, baby. This is bullshit. These motherfuckers, dude.
Put it in the trash racket.
An entire mountain of litter right out in front of my driveway. Explain to me why there's no bag. They took it out of the can and out of the bag and just dumped it in the street.
You don't think there was a hole in the bag?
If there was a hole in the... How did it get out of the trash can? It was in the trash can.
How does the trash get collected at your place? Is it two guys in a truck or is it like a mechanical arm? It's
two guys in a truck.
Okay.
So that means he had to grab the can and just heave it into the back of the truck.
I feel like we're attacking like...
So how did he...
Trash guys.
So even if the bag fell out...
I feel like we're bashing trash people right now.
I'm bashing my trash people, not all trash
City
people.
of Erie waste management.
Not even the city of Erie. Not even the entire city of Erie. It's just my guys in particular. There's something going on. We have this feud, and I don't know what I did. That's the thing. I filled out the form for the large item pickup on time. I even let them
conspiracy towards Sweet Tea to mess
I
up
let them go for 3 weeks. I gave them 3 fucking weeks to pick the thing up before I called. I gave them a chance. What did I do to deserve a mountain of shit at the bottom of my driveway?
That is great.
And it's shit like this. Like, I don't want to have to waste my time on the motherfucking
shit
phone
like this that pushes you over the edge.
Exactly. And it makes me feel like I'd rather just drive my car out onto the fucking thawing ice and just see how far it'll go before it sinks.
Oh. All right.
Because I'd rather not waste one more goddamn minute on the phone with the fucking trash people.
It really is overwhelming.
Like, I told the guy, I'm like, why am I calling you about this?
Why am I calling you about the cat shit at the end of my lawn?
Why is this happening?
Oh, see, this is why I tend to.
Oh.
Later on, I do plan on buying a house at some point, but this is why I rent. I don't deal with that shit. I dump it in a big fucking garbage thing, and I say, "See ya."
I don't know why.
So, moving back on topic.
Did we ever get on topic?
I don't think so.
Personal experiences.
Personal experiences.
Yes.
That was funny.
Yes.
I don't think that doesn't need to be edited out. So
this goes back to like high school and stuff though as well.
You've had problems with the trash people since high school?
No, not the trash people.
Okay,
No.
I was like, damn.
No. Self-inflicted harm and things like that. No, the trash people is a fairly recent thing. Maybe it's because they know about our trash rocket
idea, and then they're gonna love you for it.
No, that's probably why they're pissed at me. Is because they know I have the trash rocket idea.
If you start getting your
and they're gonna go out of business,
bullets flying.
Yeah, they're gonna go out of business. So, yeah, the self-harm thing goes back a long way. I used to fucking cut myself for whatever reason. I think it was probably more just for attention, and then when I was with the uncle fucker, I shattered my hand at one point, literally out of just such fury. I just punched the ground because I was so angry at her.
Oh, okay, so she's officially known as Uncle Fucker. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. So,
Just for people's information, I know who exactly he was talking about. Well, okay, continue.
and obviously I was upset with that individual, but I was not going to harm that individual. And I directed that fury more towards myself. Dude, my hand, the bones were pushing up against like the top of my hand. It was fucking horrible. Just no bueno, Saif. Just a series.
Just angry. That's lack of emotional intelligence. We all punch shit. I've punched things. I'll tack some pillows. Lately, I don't try to break anything anymore. Breaking glass is very therapeutic.
Ooh. Can I share one more thing that I punched? I punched
Mr.
a bunch of holes.
Ooh. Yes, please.
A bunch of holes in my bedroom door when I lived with my parents. So they made me buy a new one. And within like a week of having it,
Did you punch a hole?
I punched a hole through it. And I covered it up with a poster that remained there until I moved out. Dude, it was on there for like seriously like 8 years. And then when I moved out, they took the poster off and found the fucking hole.
Oh, Christ.
So, yeah, just very destructive, Safe. Very, very destructive. There was one night where I got super, super fucked up after I broke up with my girlfriend and I had inflicted some harm on myself. I had drank like 16 Bud Platinums and I had
This sounds like
sliced
college.
my arm open. And dude, I went to my friend's house and then my car was left there and he dropped me off back at my parents' later. And for whatever reason, I decided we're going to go get my car now. And so I took my mom's car and went and got my cousin, who I believe didn't even have a license at that point in time, went and got the car and went back to my parents' house. In the morning, my mother was curious why there were bloodstains all over her car and the wall, why there was a cigarette burn in her fucking car door. Oh, yeah, it was a rough morning. Franklin. Hey,
But
buddy.
I think there's a lot of people who do shit like this. I don't think that's a mental health issue. This is almost normal behavior. Like I said, this sounds like college to me. This sounds like a fraternity.
What,
sounds
like Blood Brothers?
A lot of a lot of cinema I've seen kind of glorifies this type of behavior, makes it normal. I don't see this as insane, or is it?
Well, if you think everything in cinema is normal, Safe, then maybe you're the insane one.
Normalized through cinema. It's normalized through cinema, through media, through film, through literature. That we are angry, right? This is celebrated. Men are virile, men are masculine. We get to break shit, and that's perceived as normal. It's not seen like that we lack emotional intelligence. We can't control our emotions because we're not being self-aware. We're not taught to be self-aware. We're not even aware that we can be self-aware. We don't have conversations about our emotions, our feelings. Mr. Rogers is a pussy, right? This is our attitude towards. We'd much rather crack our heads open playing hockey and football.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's the normal part. And you are you've had concussions before as well.
Me?
To add to that.
Me?
I always like to note that. Yeah.
Oh, dude. I don't even know how many I've had. Literally. I
Has Zach
literally
had
don't know how many
Concussions?
I've had. Yeah, Zach got hit with a plastic bottle and fucking got knocked out.
Yes,
it was hilarious.
I did. I had
An empty one.
I was at a football game, high school football game, and plastic bottle got thrown at me from the stands, empty one, and I just felt it, bounce right off my head. Felt it, bounce right off and hit the ground, and didn't think anything of it. And then I felt the coldness run down my head, and as soon as I saw the blood, I went out. But yeah, they had to. I had to get a couple staples. I was concussed. I had to be woken up. They had to keep me waking up every night, every couple hours that night. I forget why. Probably because they just want to make sure you don't fall into a coma, I guess. I don't know. Or you don't have like a serious concussion. But yes, I know I've had at least one.
So,
What about you, Saif? No concussions? Any?
I got waxed in flag football freshman year. James Niebrick was coming hard on defense. We were playing, and I was wide open in the end zone, and the ball came late, and he was going for the ball. No way, Niebrick was not that type of guy, but he did clip me in the head, and I had a headache, and I was dizzy, and they just sent me to the nurse's office. I didn't understand what, I was just like, oh, maybe I'm not okay. But because I didn't, I was taught to act tough. Right. So I was like, shake it off, walk it off. I'm fine. I'm a tough guy. And this is like peak high school, 9th grade. Like, I don't want to seem weak to these other boys.
Mm-hmm.
So got to the nurse's office, explained my symptoms. I remember she ran a flashlight in my eyes and then told me to lay down. And next thing you know, my father is on the way. And I'm actually in there with another kid who was sick, and his family owned the video store on 35th and Union Hills. It was like a mom and pop video store. And him and I started joking around and having a good time. At one point, this is a true story, the nurse steps away and another assistant comes in, and it's a female. And she's behind in an office and she can't hear us. But this kid he yells out, "Stroke me." And he motions with it. And I was just like, that's fantastic. That's hilarious. You're yelling sexual things. That's funny. I'm going to laugh at that. Okay. Again, Me Too. This is back in the 90s. All this stuff was fair game, right? But I was sent home and I didn't know why. And apparently that's when I learned this word, concussion. And I've been whacked in the head multiple times, but that was the time where, I didn't understand that something was wrong, but something was wrong. But that is my concussion story. And it involved a kid, wanting to get jerked off.
That's all he wanted. You had to pay that price. Yeah,
I associate concussion with this.
The crazy thing about my concussion story was it happened to be an empty plastic Coke bottle, I guess is the crazy bit, that was thrown at me from, I couldn't even tell you how far away. It's amazing that it cracked me open so even the doctors couldn't even figure out why. And usually they have to shave your head for it. To me, they just stapled me, like I think 3 or 4 staples, and I was good to go. But I remember it was before cell phones, so somebody had to call my parents while they were out to dinner and tell them, your son got cracked in the head with a bottle. Here, my parents think somebody cracked a glass bottle over my head. They're freaking out. They're ready to kill somebody, Meanwhile, I'm in the hospital freaking out because I don't think I think up until that point, I've never really had a huge injury as far as being rushed to the hospital in an ambulance in the middle of a football game. You know what I mean? I think I maybe got some stitches before that, but that's something I'll never forget. And that's my concussion story.
I'm sure I've had more, but that one was that was on record. Otherwise, we get hit in the head. It happens. You fall off your bike. Kids throw rocks. You do stupid shit. You play football, right? You play sports, soccer, a lot of headbutts there, right? Just even heading the ball incorrectly can cause some damage. They're now finding.
Isn't it even that's the neck thing too, right? Even the way your neck jerks, they say you can have a concussion, or am I wrong?
Right, and we see. Look how far we've come. Honestly, like we're in 2021, and where we were compared to, I'm going to take us back to 1946 tonight. So our thinking that way, kind of the lobotomy era of mental health, compared to where we are now, where it's like, hey, you have to just be careful with your brain and not knock the shit out of it.
Yeah, I've smashed my head around so much, and the last time that I definitely did get a concussion, I contacted my doctor and tried to get in to get diagnosed and everything, and they dragged their feet on it so much that it led to me having some choice words with the staff, and I had to get a new doctor.
So what did you know the proper, like, what's the protocol to, if you were to go in and they say you were concussed, what do you think the next steps would be as far as?
Don't go and continue to play hockey as I have for so long. Bro, I got at least 3 concussions from hockey.
What's the ramification for that, though? Like, what do you do to get yourself? Do you just relax? Is that what they do with football players? They just tell you to sit on your ass and you're not allowed to do anything and try and get right? Or is there some
basically
kind of rehab for it?
Well, you can do mental stuff and puzzles and shit.
I don't know. I'm curious myself.
Yeah. They do the concussion test and everything like that. And I imagine that continuing to practice those tests or things similar to that would probably help you rehab your mind faster. I'm not sure.
So
I don't know.
They give mental health tests to them, like identify this in this amount of time type stuff?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's what they did for me. I went down to Pittsburgh and they had me take this test, and it was like just a bunch of words, and they wanted me to remember this list of words from the beginning of the test at the end of the test, and they showed me a bunch of shit in the middle to try and distract me. But it was so far after the fact that I had probably recovered at that point. But I'd also been in a car accident where I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and the airbag sent me into the passenger window, so that was fun. I had like glass just embedded in my head, so I think it's fair to say that that probably did the trick. And then there was another time when I was younger and we were playing King of the Hill on a big mound of ice.
Oh, like
We
snow?
we used to play it on hay bales in the barn.
So in cul-de-sacs here, they'll just go in a big circle and continue to pile up the snow in the middle. And so it just becomes this mountain. It's like usually like 20 or 30 feet high. And we were fucking around on it, and I got pushed, and I like kind of slid down on my back, and it was kind of soft most of the way. And then bam, just right at the bottom, block of ice, just out cold. I was, dude, out so fucking cold. Just like a dead body at the bottom. Like they were genuinely worried. They were, oh shit. So,
Oh, Christ.
yeah.
Gee, you got some stories, man.
Yeah. Oh, I could fucking go on, but yeah.
Well, people know, we're having a serious discussion, but we're doing it in a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this could definitely contribute to why I probably have had some issues in the past and not been able to always control my emotions and things like that. I literally have CTE. Like, you don't need to wait for me to be dead to figure that one out.
Could be.
I mean, I also have a slew of other things, but those are diagnosed.
Here in the United... But T, here's the thing, though. Here in the United States, it seems this is more of a prevalent issue because we're becoming a culture of softies, if you will. That's kind of some of the element. This is kind of the argument when you get into the Dr. Seuss Boy Scout stuff here, right? The culture wars that we're currently having as far as, how to raise people. I mean, what do we know about how other countries deal with mental health? Oh, nice transition. Boom.
Other countries? Well, it depends where you're talking about. If we're in Africa or anywhere in...
Africa's a continent.
I'm saying most of Africa, you bastard. The majority of that continent.
Do we have any listeners in Africa? Do we even...
Well, if
We're
we
worldwide.
don't...
I thought you guys were worldwide.
We are worldwide.
Wide.
We are presently not in South Africa. We have 1% of our audience comes from South Africa. What do we know about South Africa?
I you know what's funny is I have a friend has a friend that actually husband is from South Africa, And
South
South Africa. Doesn't it sound like an Australian kind of thing?
That's where they were kind of sent there, weren't they? They were colonizing and then
Yes, that's right.
just becoming a prison, doing their thing.
I was very surprised to. I mean, it's still. I was very surprised to know about the racial problems that they have there. I mean, I found out years ago, but
Free South Africa, you dumb son of a bitch.
yeah, I guess so. I'm all about it, man. Free Hong Kong too.
But you're blick.
In February 2017, South Africa's health ombudsman announced 94 state mental health patients died due to general lack of care after being prematurely removed from state-contracted institutions. South Africa is in the midst of a mental health care crisis because the country does not have enough psychologists or funding to support mentally disabled citizens, and stigma is still rampant in the country. Additionally, studies suggest that over half of South Africans who live with mental illness consult a faith or traditional healer as a form of counseling. So, there's that about South Africa.
If people were willing and had the skills and expertise, like they could take their talent to other countries, and there's probably a need for a variety of professionals in a lot of different fields.
A lot of countries in Africa have only one or two mental health professionals in the entire country. So, what the fuck are they supposed to do?
My experience is
gotta
also taught me
consult a witch doctor.
I mean,
And the witch doctor said to me,
well,
Now you sound
do
like
you?
Rush
I mean,
Limbaugh.
do you?
ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
What's that supposed to mean?
You're fixed. That's what the witch doctor says, right?
I feel like that was borderline racist.
It's fucking in Homeward Bound, so if it's in Homeward Bound, then we're going to have to fucking cancel that too.
Might as well. We canceled Mr. Potato Head.
No,
He's
they
always
didn't.
Mr.
No, they didn't.
Did they bring him back?
They never fucking canceled him in the first place. It's Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. If there's a
Are
Mr.
they
and a
gonna do
Mrs.
this to Pac-Man?
No. You're not doing it to Pac-Man.
They're gonna do it to Pac-Man.
No. They're not doing it to Pac. Were you just going to call him Pac?
Yep.
You can't do that. If there's a Mr. and a Mrs., then they're being inclusive to
person.
everybody.
We're just gonna go to Mars and ship all our trash
You
on a
could
rocket.
You could make
Pack person?
the argument that medicine is practiced in different cultures. When you say the witch doctor, like these things do actually exist, okay? But no different than in the United States, we have other cultures that practice. A lot of shamans right now are pumping people full of ayahuasca, and saying that it cures
yeah.
trauma and PTSD, right?
Yeah.
They're giving them DMT
Addiction.
and mushrooms. And
Yep.
this is using natural elements of the earth again, but the way it's perceived, right? We perceived the way he said it in a racist way, and we shouldn't have done that. We know T's not racist.
No,
Or
he's
just
not
gotten
racist.
too many hits to the head, or maybe his garbage man is. I don't know. I don't know what the situation.
T is not racist. by
It's
any
obvious.
means.
It's a song. I didn't.
It's the Western versus Eastern. We're gonna give you things that'll cure your depression, your anxiety, Zoloft, right? And it's gonna be pumped by Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson in the medical pharmaceutical industrial complex, versus using natural healing for the purposes of curing mental health. But the idea is that we can cure mental health through chemical imbalance, right? We've studied the brain to this point where we believe we can change a few things.
I've explored both routes. And I can tell you that being on antidepressants definitely makes you feel different. You can tell that you're on them, but you don't feel yourself.
What'd you take?
All sorts of different stuff.
Did you take Zoloft?
I think I know them by their generic names, like Lexapro.
Cheap.
Lexapro's the
Couldn't even get the good
generic
shit.
name,
There's a couple other ones. Yeah.
and these are antidepressants.
I tried several. Fluoxetine. Is that one? Or is that something else?
Have they ever made you impotent?
No,
No, I heard that's a thing.
no.
Okay.
Sweet
Alcohol
tea.
does that.
Whiskey does that.
Sweet tea can
Whiskey.
bust a nut and keep going.
And another one. And
Gonna
another
catch
one.
up with you.
Not anytime soon. Not
Re-up
anytime
my
soon.
prescription. That's the only pharmaceutical I will take. But I think that's a mental thing. Like if I'm mentally stimulated, again, I've had my world shaped for me and conditioned for me by massive amounts of media. And so everything has to be a 1986 porno shoot for me, in order for me to get erect.
I don't even know what that means.
I like it natural.
Okay.
Sweet or dirty Z. But the pills, the need for pills to control and fix something. I think pharmaceuticals are a medical wonder. I am impressed with our ability as humans to create these things. But in other countries, they don't go for that. Like as an example, they don't even acknowledge mental health issues in China. It's completely
I won't
ignored.
go for that.
You are shunned in that. There's just no such thing. It does not exist. There is no industry set up for it. But here in the United States, it's the exact opposite.
Well, let's
But again,
be
our
clear.
brand here. Yeah.
Our brand here is not anything to write home about. When I was in that facility for a week, they invited me to do stuff which I didn't want to participate in. So I just sat in a fucking room for a week. And then I went out to the common area to fucking watch ESPN. And then I ate 3 meals a day.
That was your experience.
Yeah.
Why did you say no? Why were you antisocial?
I was wondering the same thing.
Because some of the people that were in there were, I just didn't want to interact with them. I didn't want to interact with anybody. I didn't want to be there. And
Is it like jail and you see all these weird people around you and you're like, I don't belong in jail? Is that
Yes.
how it feels?
Yes.
In these
Yeah,
Yes, it
exactly.
is.
Exactly.
Exactly,
Like there were
it
people
is.
that were definitely like homeless and things like that, and that schizophrenics, and
Yeah.
they're very, I can attest. Go ahead, bud.
yeah, I
know what you mean.
didn't want to sit there and do finger painting or things,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
Finger painting sounds fun.
yeah. And it wasn't that it was finger painting, but just it was mindless shit that wasn't going to benefit me.
No, it's yeah.
Benefiting me is growing, and that is something that I didn't really experience a whole lot of through my upbringing. Like I wasn't encouraged to grow, and nobody really fostered my passions. That didn't make any sense.
No, it did, because that's the thing. We'd rather throw you in a room with a really loud television, some rickety magazines, and maybe some checkers or something, right? And you're around a bunch of crazy people rather than just people actually taking the time to care and want to explore your self-awareness with you to help you work those things out, to help you have that emotional intelligence conversation.
Precisely.
And we don't want to do that. We're too busy. I'm too busy. I don't want to listen to your bullshit. I got my own problems going on. I'd rather talk about myself
Exactly.
Right.
rather than actually listen and care for someone. And then those people who do work in that industry and absorb that, social workers, right? They're now struggling. They can't deal with it. And they're overwhelmed by all the bullshit and all the things that they have to absorb all day.
And to be honest with you, a lot of those people who psychiatrists, I mean, you meet the real them when they're not off work. I mean, they're just, if not more, more mentally unstable than some of their patients. I've seen it multiple times. You almost wonder how they can be in charge of other human beings. You're like, I don't understand how you're in charge of somebody's mental health when it's clearly like it's something that you need to work on yourself. And it like I said, it's not just one occasion. I've seen it on many occasions where it's a psychiatrist or I don't know if it's so
But
much
then
psychologist.
You look at these other countries around the world where they encourage the mentally ill to speak about their experiences to help others recover from whatever they're going through.
Which is why we're doing this.
Yes, exactly.
I think the problem with
like in Germany, they have refugees that become counselors to help incoming refugees.
in Germany.
Mm-hmm. That's just one example. And then I know that there's... Go on.
No, people from that community helping other people from that, from other communities, right? That can connect better. I think, again, us going over to South Africa and being like, hey, we're here to help. We know nothing about what's happening in South Africa. We're not from that community. We're not from that culture. They would look at us as frauds. You guys are carpetbaggers. Get the fuck out of here. No. So the work coming from those who can best affect change. I think that's the best strategy. Like in another example, it's comparable but different. Heroin addicts helping other heroin addicts get off of heroin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you almost need people who have that experience, who can connect and be real and be honest, and then help that person out of their own whatever issue or whatever condition. So refugees helping refugees makes total sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's other cultures that embrace the fact that people that have gone through these struggles with mental illness have a way better understanding than some of these people that have just read about it in a book. Me being a suicide survivor, for example. Like talking to a mental health professional that has never felt that urge themselves. I don't want to say it makes them fraudulent, but it's hard to feel like they really do understand every single thing that you're telling them. They might have studied about it. They probably have plenty of other clients that have told them the same things, so they can probably have a good understanding of what it's like, or put themselves in that situation, or imagined it at some point. Or maybe they've heard it so much that they've been driven to the point of having those thoughts themselves, which I would hope not, but it's the same idea. If you haven't gone through the experience, then how can you fully understand or empathize with somebody who is?
It's off-putting. Even when you said it earlier, as you started the podcast, I was like, ugh. As many times as I hear it, it doesn't make me jump for joy. When you say I'm a suicide survivor, it instantly impacts me in a negative way.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
But when other people come to me and say, "Hey, I need you to know that," like potential partners, I have depression, I have anxiety, right? And I hear these things, or all the people I work with or interact with, and they'll share these things, and I'm like, I get uneasy to hear that other people have problems. I don't want to. So even when you say it again, I think there is a stigma that we have to fight through as well. We have to normalize that people are all struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I obviously am still here. So I don't think that I'm ever really going to go down that road again. But I'm not going to sit here and acknowledge that I wasn't so depressed that I didn't at one point. There's no point in pretending like that didn't happen. And if people want to judge me for that, then they can go ahead and judge me for that. I don't give a shit. Like whatever. I'm still here. If anything, that's still a testament to my earlier statement that I am the next evolution of humankind, and you can't put me down. Can't put me down. I'm not going to get any corona. Seizure's not going to stop me. Traumatic head injury is not going to stop me.
No concussion.
Oh, yeah. The bottle, when the bottle broke over my head, that had to have been a concussion, right?
Jesus Christ.
It was a glass bottle. Mine was a glass bottle right to the dome.
Yeah, I've never gotten one of those before.
Right to the square of my forehead.
Yeah.
I was still standing though.
Big old shard of glass sticking out of your head. You're still on. Sweet Tea's still on his feet though. He's gushing blood 3 feet away, but he's still standing.
A wound. Not a
No, it's
concussion.
It's just a cut.
Oh. Speaking of that incident, though, while we're on the subject, the nurse that took care of me in the ER that night is the one and the same woman that is in the GoFundMe that we recently shared on our page. Her house, her house burned down.
Oh.
So, yeah, if anybody is interested in contributing to that, and if you can't contribute to it, that's all right. At least share. Maybe there's somebody out there who has an extra $5 laying around that they can toss in there. That would be greatly appreciated. I do believe that they have homeowners insurance and things like that, but claims do take a long time to process, and you're not going to recover every single thing.
Personal memories and stuff.
Yeah, you're not going to recover every single thing. No. And I know that they lost 2 cats as well, so that's upsetting. But I told her
every little bit helps.
That is sad. That's terrible.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just we just happened to be on the subject, so I figured I'd tie that in there. And yeah, if anybody can help, please consider doing so.
That's happening here. People here in the United States need help, and that kind of transitions. Like, where are we at now? What's the current state of the mental health system in the United States? Where are we at with this?
It's getting better, I guess. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's actually getting better, but everybody's talking about shit more on Facebook. That's all.
Do you think it's obviously gotten, to me, it doesn't seem like it would be getting better with the pandemic. Maybe now that it's starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, I could see it be getting better, but to me, it seemed like it would be worse.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But for some people who are introverted, who have mental health issues, who would rather be inside, I mean, I'm sure it's a staycation for them. You know what I mean?
I'll be interested to see what the suicide rates and things of that nature are like when they start coming in for the last year or two. I wonder how quickly we can access that information. But we know that in the last couple of decades, it's gone down globally, but it's risen here, and it's risen pretty steadily in the last decade or two, if I'm not mistaken. So why?
Social media.
Saif?
Yeah, I would agree. Like there is a correlation with depression and social media, people looking at themselves, and it seems to be affecting women more than men.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm meeting more and more young people who have some type of mental complex, and a lot of it is reflected in that they're not comparable to what's happening in the world. And I don't know what to make of any of that, because I know how far we've come. So I agree with you. I think more people are talking about it. We're definitely a lot better than where we were in 1946, as an example. There was an article in Life magazine, Bedlam 1946, and it exposed 2 state hospitals, one which we need to add to our visit list because it's in Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia, Byberry, and the other one is in Ohio's Cleveland State. And these were eventually shut down, but this was after World War II. We're just done fighting the Nazis, and we get back over here, and we learn that we have atrocities and mistreatment of people happening in our own country. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the mental health facilities are regulated enough. We don't know what's going on anywhere. No. We're learning that there are multiple homes in New York that the governor of New York has been covering up as far as like the death count's concerned, right? And so you have things just happening behind closed doors in any facility that we're just unaware of. We're not able to peer behind the curtain. And I'm gonna close it up here.
That's the way they want it, man. That's the way they want it. They don't want you to see what's going on.
Can you believe anything that you read now, though? Is that where we've gotten to the point where you can't even believe what you read? You take it as kind of like, this is just what they're saying.
This is why Sweet Tea's goal is to travel the world nonstop. I want to travel full time. That way I can fucking see it all. If somebody's like, oh, this is what's going on in New York. Well, guess what? I'm going to go to New York that day and find out for my fucking self. I'll fucking hop on a plane and I'll fucking go to New York. What do you think about that?
You got a lot.
I think you stay local and really get into what's happening in your part of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's going on in my part of Pennsylvania is
trash
fucking...
men are messing with
Yeah,
you.
the trash men are fucking out of control. The police are corrupt. The fucking... We don't recycle glass. Do you recycle glass there?
We do not.
Oh, we don't. Okay, so...
Not in Glendale, no. And Phoenix does, but...
Oh, good.
Just going right into the incinerator. Like we're not even recycling plastic. It's just aluminum tin.
Fantastic. It's just wonderful. Why don't we just put it all on a fucking rocket?
I proposed that idea to a couple of people, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, it's really not crazy.
Yeah, we're going to have these reusable rockets. We could take a lot of this trash and just make a space elevator out of it.
It's what's crazy to think about is not only is the trash that we have here on Earth, but the space junk that's surrounding Earth.
Exactly. We just get a big net.
Get a big net.
And then we'll just push it out into the sun.
I'm more worried about the oceans. That's my biggest thing.
There is really an island of plastic. It does exist. It's just our trash.
Trash Island.
Mm-hmm.
So we go.
We're getting there.
It's good that we're actually taking
there,
steps. For sure.
We just got to go to Trash Island.
We're going to go to Trash Island and scoop it up on the trash rocket.
Yeah, we're just going to strap it
through the trash.
Strap it.
To the space trash, and the sun's going to incinerate it, right?
We got to do something. We can't just leave it sitting there.
No, we have to be interplanetary. We have to move to Mars. That's the only
yeah, but that means we're just going to... That doesn't solve the fucking problem.
Then we become moles.
We're going to go to Mars, and then what? We're going to trash Mars, too, and then what? On to the next one? We're going to just trash...
That's Musk's idea.
No, because whenever we do run into aliens, they're going to be like, fuck you guys. You're going to be... You're the ones that left behind all those trashy planets in your fucking wake that we came across. They're like, you're the ones. Fuck you guys. And then they're going to blow us out of existence for fucking polluting the galaxy.
These are some theories. I love them.
We could just shoot our shit into the sun and keep our shit to ourselves. But here you are. You want to go gallivanting about just spewing trash across the fucking... What's great is that it almost reminds me of the one trash rocket idea that we got sent to us. It's literally a rocket that is fueled by trash and is like propelled by trash.
Like, that's a great idea.
Like instead of fire coming out of
Somebody suggested that. That is... It's a true trash rocket. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. We are still looking for trash rocket ideas. If anybody is interested in having their artwork featured on one of our upcoming t-shirts, we will credit the artists on the back of the t-shirt, but the logo will be on the front that you create and design and submit to us. Albeit it needs to be able to be digitized and, brought to life a little bit, but
yeah, we're still getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want to see your ideas. Keep them coming. We've got some good ones so far. And we will go ahead and put it on a shirt for the world to see.
That's epic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're excited about that project. So
I might just make up my own trash rocket.
There you go. Somebody can buy an original Zach trash rocket shirt.
Let's go.
See?
I love it.
Saif, what other questions do you have for us? Because I want people out there to know that this is more commonplace than you might think. A lot of people struggle with not just suicidal thoughts, but just feeling super anxious or just not sure how to handle a situation sometimes. Like I know with PTSD, there's things that you just go from 0 to 100 without ever really registering why until after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is pretty commonplace. And the more that you acknowledge it, the more that people can get help. It's not so much that you have to talk about it at fucking dinner every night and this, that, and the other, but just make sure that your friends are okay. And if they're not, let them know that you're always here for them, even if their thoughts take them to darker places. It's okay. And then let them know that if they don't feel comfortable talking about issues that they have with you, that you can suggest professional help. Not somewhere where you're going to go get locked up, but just go see a therapist to at least vent some of the things that you're feeling. Encourage them to get some sort of help if they're not willing to talk to you. That's the biggest thing that I had missing in my life, is nobody ever wanted to hear from me in my direct circle of friends and family. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Nobody asked me what was wrong or anything like that. They just said, go get help. They just skipped to steps 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody else. We don't want to deal with this directly.
Yes.
We'll pay for the bills, which it's expensive, by the way. This is expensive stuff.
But
Do you feel though like some people might think that they're not, how do you say, educated enough to deal with that, or emotionally attached to deal with that? Some people just aren't emotionally there to deal with it, so they defer to that.
It's a stigma.
Yeah.
We still have the stigma.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of ways to break that. I mean, do you just, unless you want to go through your life being a fucking statue, not being able to handle your shit, but then you end up like one of these fucking 50-year-olds having a midlife crisis.
Right.
But it's difficult to even have the conversation. I'm not going to spark it up with my boys on the text thread and just be like, hey, do you guys ever get depressed, lonely, anxious, and so on? Like, it just doesn't. And even then, it's, I'll be there.
Why
for
don't you
It
just,
almost feels.
why can't the text thread just be like, hey, how you guys doing? Everything's great over here. Just making sure that all my boys are all right. Haven't heard from you in a while. Let's grab some beers sometime. If you're too busy.
They're still sad when Trump lost.
Well,
They're still pissed off. I haven't heard from some of them since.
well then, yeah. See, check in on your boys. Just be like, hey guys, haven't heard from you since around
He's still
November.
gonna be president. They just moved the inauguration date later to March.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, you could invite them out to celebrate.
We're gonna have a Yingling party. Actually, we're gonna have a Yingling party.
You and I are gonna have a Yingling party when I get back down there.
When is the next plan?
I want ales this time. I'm not picky, but I'm gonna try the Pilsner and the Black and Tan here, and they're good.
Keep it up, and I'll bring you some
Yingling
flights.
Light? Have you had Yingling Light yet?
There was a bar near Pittsburgh. I was singing karaoke and eating chicken wings, and I think they had Yingling Light there.
Yeah, Yingling's good, but
So-
Yingling Light is really good.
Yeah, but they have like
I think Yingling is
super
the
low.
only beer that I can. I mean, Yingling, not light, just regular Yingling. It's the only beer that I can continue to drink and not. I like strong IPAs, but I like having one. I can't sit there and hit 4 or 5 beers. Can't.
They
But
have
when it's Yingling, I can probably.
a low calorie, like low carb one now called Flight.
Flight.
Oh.
And that's what I'm going to bring you if you keep this up, mister.
What are you at? Are you what is your choice? Is Yingling is your choice of beer if you have one? If you had one for the rest of your life, Saif?
It would be a local beer here from Arizona, probably
Local.
Orange Blossom by
Orange Blossom.
Papago Orange Blossom by Huss. It just tastes like Christmas. I don't know. It's great.
We have a lot of good Christmas beers around here. I think that's well known. I actually come from Great Lakes Brewery Company, and we got some here in Erie that are okay, but we have good Christmas beers here.
Johnny Rails.
Is this
Johnny Rails is a good
the pumpkin. Yeah.
pumpkin. Yeah.
Pumpkin imitator.
There's a Voodoo Brewery has a really good
The best pumpkin one that I've had is Blockhouse Brewing, though, which is actually a division of ICB, Iron City.
Oh, okay. Iron City beer. Okay.
Iron City
Okay. I
from
know
Pittsburgh. They make this tits pumpkin beer, dude. It is so sweet. It's like my favorite one.
It's good swill, I will say. And
I like to eat
when it
my
goes
beer.
down, it eases the tension a bit, and it allows you to talk more freely about your emotions. So,
But don't drink it to the point that you black out and
that's the point, though. That is the point of drinking, is to get fucked up.
well, I guess all right, yes, but don't put
To
yourself
quote
in
Peter Griffin,
physical
I'm going to
harm.
drink till I don't
way.
have feelings anymore.
See, and that's what a lot
The
of
words
people
of Colonel
do.
Sanders. I'm too drunk to taste this chicken.
They don't want to deal with reality, so they just drink and they check out and they go into fucking la la land.
True.
Yeah. Addiction and mental health are two. I mean, they
isn't that
coincide
mental
so
health?
well. They coincide so well. It's kind of hard to, attest to one another.
I mean, addiction, I feel like, just falls under the umbrella of mental health.
Yeah. It could trigger, addiction could trigger your mental health. You could be permanently mentally messed up from doing too much.
Oh, yeah.
drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen people go off the deep end, just flat out just doing too much drugs. They were completely normal, give them 10 years and some meth later, and you're like, what happened?
Almost like
10 years of battery acid just chilling on their brain. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I will say one experience that I did have, with mental health is I did meet somebody who explained to me their trouble of, they said I'm bipolar, but I also I'm an alcoholic. So what happens is sometimes, I'll forget my meds, or I'll come off my meds, or I'll just be lazy and I'll be fine. So then, bipolar starts kicking in and I start drinking. Well, that's in turn how he starts, always getting thrown into these mental health facilities. They don't throw him in jail. They throw him in a mental health facility, like a lockdown. And he said he's a normal guy. When you talk to him, he's the coolest dude ever. But, once his bipolar kicks in, he's like, I just happen to turn to alcohol. He's like, I take medication, but I'm not always consistent with it. And he's like, and that's my problem. And it's sad because you talk to him and he's one of the cool, he's one of the coolest guys ever. But because of him having being bipolar,
feel like people would be more open to the idea if it was referred to as the Bruce Banner complex. So,
like, you drink and then that makes you turn you into another person. Is that are you reversing it?
no, I'm just thinking like the Incredible Hulk. So he just loses control, just gets angry and then just flips out and just loses all control.
That I understand. Now, now how do you say somebody with an addiction doesn't have a mental health issue? Then,
well, that's why I said that addiction.
Because you can quickly, easily say, as somebody who doesn't have addiction, doesn't have an addictive personality, being like, it's just a matter of willpower. Who cares if they can't control it, if they can't grow up? You know what I mean? That's them. It's not a mental health issue. In which some cases it might be true, but then in some cases they might have a non-diagnosed mental health issue that nobody knows about.
I feel like if we're looking at it from a Venn diagram standpoint, addiction is just 100% within mental illness.
You think it's all combined into one? You think it's all the
well,
same?
They're not interchangeable. No, not every mental illness leads to...
Okay, I just want to understand you.
But people that are addicted to things, usually, I feel like 99.9% of the time,
have mental health
have
issues?
some sort of mental health issue, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are the ones that just, that happen to try, they snort their first line of coke and they're like, whoa.
I guess,
and then they do their first line of meth and they're really like, whoa.
I guess we need to specify too, because addicted, there's people that are addicted to gardening.
Could be anything. It could be
You know
anything.
what I'm saying? And
Could be
people
anything.
like that.
Sugar.
Yeah, sugar.
So yeah, I wouldn't say
Eating
that everybody.
Burger King.
So
Yeah.
so
I
so
love
yeah.
sugar.
So
I'm a
maybe
big sugar fan.
we need to rephrase this, but ones that are using substances to cover up an underlying, mental health issue,
Right.
or can't handle everyday life. So I mean, that's where I fall under that category to a degree.
Mhm.
There's things that I do to handle reality on a daily basis. So
I think everybody does.
yeah, but when it gets to the point with that you're causing yourself or others harm, or putting yourself or others at risk of being harmed, that's when it becomes an obvious issue.
To look at it another way, to give my kind of not so much point of view, but what I always try to say, and this is some mentor of mine told me this years ago, and it's always stuck with me. If there's one thing that somebody's ever said to me and it's stuck with, it's, I was going through, not so much going through normal early 20s bullshit. You know what I mean? Nothing really serious, just stressed out, trying to figure out life, and kind of felt like everything was happening one after the other. And he sat me down and he said, I'll never forget it. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. So in turn, it kind of told me, like, look, as you have things rolling and rolling and rolling and you're going to hit a speed bump, it doesn't mean your whole world's going to end. And you know what I mean? You need to go to a dark place and feel like, oh man, I'm really fucking depressed now. Like nothing can go right for me. It's life. You're going to hit them and you're going to get hit hard. So not everything has to be extreme. Not every freaking
life.
Yeah, not every thing you trip over is
That's
going to be
all
like
the people say.
going to be the end of the world. But I think that's another thing that people need to realize, that shit's just going to end up happening. You're going to get a flat tire every once in a while. You're going to some asshole from China is going to hack your account and steal your money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just life. It's going to happen. And if you try and look at it that way and not be so much down and be like, oh, my life sucks, you can maybe start to kind of pick yourself back up. And
I was this close to just ordering new fucking tires, because that's where I'm at.
Some Chinaman's going to steal your credit card
just
info.
take the ones in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could take Zach's tires. Yeah, I'll just steal Zach's tires.
I got to get those back on. Season's changing. If I don't, they're going to find my ass.
You were this close to fucking me selling them on fucking Facebook.
It's all right. Sell them, because they're trash anyways.
It's plugged. Fuck it. Let's do it live. But I went and ordered a bunch of other fucking car parts. I'm about to order a new computer. I'm going crazy. Safe, where are we at on the business cards?
He can do glossy on the front and matte on the back. Matte black on the back.
All glossy on the front?
He can do it. Shout out to Allen Printing in Glendale, Arizona, our Catch the Sky Small Business of the Week. Allen Printing for all your business card needs. Reasonable prices.
That's a great plug. That's a great plug.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, let's just wrap this up before we get off on another tangent.
I think there's a lot more to discuss about mental health. I appreciated this conversation tonight, and I know there's more to talk about. So let's do it again. Let's take it offline. Let's take it to the people. People, what do you think? What do you want to share? But tonight we shared our own personal experiences. We got into the international components, and we also brought it back home to the U.S. to see how things were. So remove the stigma, fund it, or, just like with COVID, we're just letting people die. So should we just get rid of the mentally ill too? I don't know. Tell us your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us this week on Catch the Sky. Don't go crazy.
If you'd like to leave your thoughts, comments, or feedback, you may do so.
This was great.
At Catch the Sky Podcast.
Part 2.
On Facebook or Instagram. That is at Catch the Sky Podcast. Or you may find us on Twitter at CTS Saif, SAIF, or at CTS Terry. We're also on YouTube. You can
Share
find us there.
this shit. Share it all. Share, share.
Yeah,
These guys put in a lot of work and a lot of effort, so it would be really appreciated if you guys went out there.
Go to your grandmother's phone and just like and subscribe for her, okay?
And then share from her profile. From her Bumble
Tag
account.
us in whatever you can.
Yeah, hashtag Trash Rocket. So until next week, don't lose your head, literally or figuratively, and keep trying to catch the sky.